Hi, this is Zoya Khan here. Today we are going to learn electrical power transmission systems, my favorite part from the whole electrical system analysis. Actually, we have three parts of the electrical power system. The first one is generation, then we have transmission, and finally we have the distribution system. So the question here is, what is the need of electrical power transmission? So the answer is we have generations very far from our houses, so we are required to pass the generated energy to the consumer without any loss. But it is not possible. We have some losses, but we are trying to decrease these losses. So, in this course, our main focus is you get to know that what are the parameters that affect the efficiency of transmission system. We are going to discuss some parameters on which the transmission efficiency is dependent. So when you got to know about the idea of the parameters, that what are these parameters and how they are affecting the efficiency of electrical power transmission, so you would be able to identify or develop or invent a method to increase the efficiency of electrical power transmission system. So moving on, let's discuss the very basic Pakistan's electricity. So you can see on the slide, we have the total production capacity of Pakistan is 27,500 megawatt, whereas the demand is around 35,000 megawatt. So we are falling short of 8,000 megawatt. So it is a big problem. The shortfalling is much higher than the total production, which is a cause for load shedding, and the country is falling short of 8,000 megawatt. And this is not just the end. The demand is actually increasing day by day, and annually it is increasing 8%. If I say that by installation of some generation, we would be able to meet the need of 35,000 megawatt, but the problem doesn't end here. As I have said that it is increasing annually 8%, so in the coming year it would have increased 8%. So we would have needed to meet this need as well. So this is a main problem and it is increasing annually 8%. So these are some basic knowledge you should have before studying electrical power system. That how much we are generating, how much we are needed to supply, and how much amount we are shorting fall of. Now, the reason, the major cause, what are the causes behind the shortfall of electricity in Pakistan? So let's see in the next slide what are the reasons. There could be several reasons, but two major reasons are written here. The first one is the insufficient installed generating capacity. So, as I have told earlier, that the generation is 27,500, whereas the usage or the demand is 35,000 megawatt. So, we are needed to install the proper generation capacity to fulfill our demand. Now, the second one is the most important and it is of our lecture. It is linked with our lecture, which is the transmission system. The transmission system is actually unable to transmit the load imposed due to technical or non-technical losses. So we have some losses in the power system, in the transmission line, and we are needed to solve these problems in order to get high efficiency and high power at the end of transmission lines. Then moving on, we have some kinds of transmission networks. As you can see, we have high voltage DC power transmission, and the second one is AC power transmission systems. So high voltage DC power transmission system, it started by Thomas Edison the first time. But that time the concept were not that much expanded, so people didn't give it importance. But as the time passes and several researches, now the new innovations in this field, now world is again looking towards this technology. And as a result, in 1882, first the long distance high voltage DC power, which carries only 1.5 kilowatt, was sent over. But then the inventions come on, and we are able to send 20,000 to 2385 kilometers a distance over a distance, and we are sending 7.1 gigawatt of power in that particular high distance. So it is a great accomplishment in the DC system. Okay, now moving on, we have some voltage levels in the transmission system. We know that we generate at 11 kV, but we transmit it at 132 or 220 kV, the high voltage, and then we have the extra high voltage between 400 and 760 kV, then ultra high voltage AC. These are the AC voltage levels above 760 kV. And last but not the least, we have the high voltage DC plus minus 1600 kilovolt, which we could transmit on the transmission line. Now let's discuss some basic of high voltage DC transmission system. Okay, so in high voltage DC transmission system, we generate AC power. It is common that we generate power in the form of AC, but in order to transfer it in the DC form, what we are needed to do, we are needed to convert the AC into DC, which you can see on the slide as well. At the very first, we started the generation, and then we have a transformer. What the transformer does, it steps up or steps down the AC voltage form. The generation is usually of 11 kV, but the transformer steps it up to 132 to 20 kilovolts. And then you can see the block of rectifier. What the rectifier do, it converts AC into DC because we are needed to supply in the DC form. You can also refer the sinusoidal waveform here. It is AC, whereas in DC line, the transmission time, we have the straight DC current. So it is clear that we are transmitting the current, voltage and power in the DC form. But at the receiving end, the consumers have AC appliances, so they are needed AC power. So we are needed to convert the DC line into AC system. For that reason, we have used inverter, which does this for us. Inverter converts DC into AC, and then you can see another transformer there, because as I have told earlier that at the beginning we stepped it up from 11 kV to 132 or 220 kV, but the consumers cannot consume it at 220 kV. They need 220 volts or 440 volts. So this transformer is for the sake of stepping down it. You can see also there is a box of harmonic filtering, which we do for the removal of harmonic distortion. We have harmonic distortions because of the conversion from AC to DC and DC to AC. So in order to remove those distortions, we have some filterings, some filters, band pass, low pass, high pass filters. So this is the whole analysis of high voltage DC transmission system. Then moving on, we have some advantages of high voltage DC transmission system. As I have told earlier that the world is transforming from AC to DC, so there could be some advantages that force people to again move from AC to DC. So let's discuss those advantages. The first one, as you can see on the slide, it reduces the right of way. And it is so common that in high voltage DC, we have just two lines, one for the phase and other for neutral. So, but in case of AC, and we usually use in AC the double circuitry means we have three phases for the transmission of red, yellow, and blue. But for the case of double circuitry, we have six phases, two phases for red, two phases for yellow, and two phases for blue. But in case of high voltage DC, we have only one phase and one neutral. So it reduces the right of way, and it also reduces the impact of environment on the transmission line. Lesser the impact, lesser would be the losses. So this is the first advantage of high voltage DC transmission on AC transmission system. Then the second one is the power losses, which we were finding. Actually, the main purpose is to increase the power and reduce the power losses. So, how DC is saving our power? High voltage DC transmission losses are lower than AC transmission losses in practically all cases. And we can understand it from some basic concepts as the AC resistances are more than the DC resistances, and we know that V is equals to IR. So when the resistance is higher, the drop would be higher. At the same time, in case of AC, we have reactances as well, which is not present in DC system. So the reactances reduces, the resistances reduces, as a result, the power loss reduces. So this is the second advantage of DC over AC. Now the third advantage is the lower investment cost. For high voltage DC transmission line, we know that we are needed to have the converters AC to DC and DC to AC. But in the presence of these converters as well, the cost is much lesser than required to install AC transmission system. So the cost reduces, the power loss reduces. So these are the advantages of high voltage DC transmission over AC transmission. So why the world is moving towards DC again? These are the advantages. As in this world, no nothing can have only advantages. The same goes with high voltage DC. High voltage DC transmission has advantages but at the same time disadvantages as well. The first disadvantage is in DC transmission we use converters. Now, what these converters do? They absorb considerable amount of reactive power. So the absorbance of reactive power means the losses. The first loss is this. The second one is, as I have told earlier, that because of these converters, AC to DC and DC to AC, we have harmonic distortion. And to reduce this harmonic distortion, we use some filters and other instruments or equipments as well. So at the same time, it is increasing the circuit complexity, and also if we would be unable to remove all the distortions, so those distortions could cause our instruments to damage. This is another disadvantages of high voltage DC. The third one is low overload capability. We can overload AC systems, but in case of DC, we cannot overload DC systems that much because in AC system, if we have three phases, red, yellow, blue, so if the red phase is loaded, so we can balance it from other two phases as well. But in case of DC, we have a single phase, a single neutral, so we cannot overload it. So this is the other disadvantage of high voltage DC transmission system. As I have told earlier, that all the things in the universe have some advantages and some disadvantages as well. But the disadvantages of high voltage DC transmission system, if we compare it with the advantages it offers, so the advantages have greater percentage. That's the reason that the world is again moving towards the DC transmission system. Then moving on, in our video, let's discuss the advantages of AC transmission systems. The first advantage is AC circuit breakers are cheaper than the DC circuit breakers. So it actually reduces what? It reduces the cost. AC circuit breakers are cheaper. It means it reduces the cost of the transmission system. The second one is the repairing and maintenance of AC substations is easy and inexpensive than DC substations because DC substations contain converters as well, so their maintenance is of high complexity and also expensive. So this is another point in support of AC transmission system. The third one is the level of AC voltage may be increased or decreased using transformer, and this is the best advantage I could say for AC transmission system because as I have told earlier that we generate 11 kV but we transmit 132 to 20 kVs. So how we do this? We use transformers to step up and step down the voltage levels. We can use boosters in DC systems as well, but their accuracy, their efficiency, and their voltage level cannot be matched with the efficiency of transformer. So this is another advantage in support of AC transmission system. And last but not the least is the conversion. Because in DC transmission systems, we need converters from AC to DC, whereas if we are going to transmit in AC form, so we are not needed to transmit or convert AC to DC or DC to AC. So this is another point of AC transmission system. Till now, we have discussed the DC transmission system, their advantages, their disadvantages, and the advantages of AC transmission system. So I can draw a conclusion that the transmission system we can use AC and DC as well, but the AC is good, much good I can say, as compared to AC transmission system, but it may vary from person to person or from places to places. So the conclusion is we can use AC as well as DC transmission systems, but we are needed to have the knowledge of both transmission system because with the change in place we can use AC system as well as DC system, whatever the situation is and whatever the transmission system suits there, we can use that transmission system as well. So keeping these advantages and disadvantages in mind, you can draw or design the transmission system for a particular case by keeping these advantages and disadvantages. So now moving on, let's discuss another topic which is underground cables versus overhead lines. These are the core things which we are discussing in transmission network as the types of transmission network, AC/DC, and then in this slide we are going to discuss the underground cables and overhead lines. The transmission system could be overhead or it could be underground cables. It may vary from place to place or from scenario to scenario. So let's discuss some advantages of overhead lines. There are underground cables, so they have some advantages over overhead headlines, whereas at other place we have some advantages of overhead lines on underground cables. So first discuss underground cables advantages. Overhead lines are subjected to damage from severe weather conditions, mainly it could be lightning, wind, freezing, whereas underground cables are less prone to these effects. As it is crystal clear that overhead lines are subjected to wind, to rough atmosphere, to storm, whereas underground cables are safe from those distractions or disturbances. So this is the advantage of underground cables, as we would have more impact of environment, more wind, more storm. It could cause damages in overhead lines, whereas underground cables are safe from these distractions or destruction. Then we have in the second point, overhead lines are subjected damage during war or civil unrest, while underground cables are comparatively safe. During war, there could be some chemicals or some bullets and other damaging things that could damage the lines, overhead lines of transmission system, whereas the underground cables have no impact of whatever happening on the earth, it is underground. The third point is overhead lines cause emission into the surrounding area of electromagnetic fields, whereas underground cables, whatever they emit, are restricted from the earth. As you have seen at some places at high transmission areas, there are some cross or some symbols there that shows to stay at some distance because there are high electromagnetic fields there that could cause damage to your body, that could cause even death to you. But in case of underground cables, we are walking on the ground but we have no impact of the electromagnetic field which is passing under our ground. So actually the earth restricted or surrounded those electromagnetic fields. So this is another advantage of underground cables over versus overhead lines. So let's move on to the next slide. Here we have the AC power system, the AC power supply system we are starting. We have discussed the basics of transmission type, DC, AC. We have drawn the conclusion that which transmission system we should use. And then we started with the underground and overhead lines. We discussed the advantages, disadvantages, the impacts of environment. And I would say again that the usage of underground or overhead lines depends upon the scenario. So in some cases, like if the sea is passing, so we cannot go with underground cables. We have to have pass the transmission system overhead. Whereas in other cases, the underground cables could be best. So it depends on the scenario, it varies from scenario to scenario. Then we have AC power supply system. In this figure, we have the complete schematic from generation to consumer means to distribution. As you can see at the very beginning, generation we have the generation of 11 kV. Usually we have three generators, 11 kV each are generating. Then you can see the green lines that are transformers. The transformers, what they do, as I have told earlier, they step up or step down. But here what they are doing, they are stepping up the generation voltages from 11 kV to 132 or 220 kilovolts. And then we have the transmission level which is indicating 132 to 2400 kilovolts. From there, we can pass it to some very large consumers if they are needed, some very big industries if they are needed. Such high voltages, we would supply it from the basic transmission level 132 to 20 and 400 kilovolts. And then you can see another transformer. What it does, it actually converts 132 to 20 and 400 kilovolts to 66 kilovolt, and it is what sub transmission level. There are some consumers that uses 66 kilovolt, so we give supply directly from sub-transmission level to that consumers. But for our usage, what we are needed enough to 20 volts. So the 66 kilovolt further steps down to 33 or 11 kV, and this box has the name primary distribution. This is the primary distribution where we have 33 or 11 kV, and this we supply to some medium consumers that require this kind of voltage or this level of voltage. And then you can see again a transformer. This is what the distribution transformer, and these are the pole mounted transformers you could see at your area. The 11 kV or 33 kV lines are terminated on our PMTs, and what they do, they step it down to 220 volts line to neutral and 440 volt line to line. So this is going to the consumers, the very small consumers. Like we at our home use a single phase 220 volts, and some houses, some big houses like Bangalore's, they use a three-phase system, or some story buildings they use three-phase system, and they divide each phase into separate story. So they could use according to their wish, but this is the last stage of the voltage, which is 220 and 440 volts. So generation is 11 kV and the distribution is 220 volts. Now the question here is, why we don't generate just 220 volts if we are needed to have 220 volts, or why the transmission level is 132, 220 and 400 kV. If we are generating 11 kV, so it is high enough to just transmit it and to give it to some consumers. So why we are increasing it till 132, 220 and 400 kilovolt? So the basic and simple answer is, we have in line the resistances, the reactances. As the power is generating 27,500 megawatt, so if the power is generating 27,500 megawatts, so with the usage of transformer we cannot do anything with the power. We cannot increase or we cannot decrease the power. What we can do, we can increase the voltage level, so as a result the current level would decrease automatically to maintain the power, because the primary and secondary of a transformer has same power. There could there couldn't be any decrease or increase in power at secondary or primary side of transformer. So why we increase the voltage level? Because we know that we have resistances. So as higher current flows, V is equals to IR. So the higher would be the losses. But in order to decrease the losses, we have increased the voltage level to decrease current. So we would have less losses. So this is the AC power supply system. This is enough for today's video. Now we will discussing the other topics in the coming videos. I hope that you would like the content I have discussed in this video. Thank you so much for watching.